Do you agree with me that the Lions got robbed Saturday night at Jerry World?
Well, I will start here first that I do believe, Skip, wow, on how you open this, talking about that old curse that hung over us for so long, the Jimmy Johnson curse. I don't know what else can explain
I don't either.
What happened yesterday. I don't know how you can figure this thing out, that this thing went down the way it went down. And Dallas gets that game. And Philly does what happens in Philly.
Yep.
I said, man, I said to myself, even at that game, when I left that game, I will say this. I didn't feel like we won that game.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? I didn't feel like we won that game. I was like, oh, my God. And you're headed into the playoffs on that note. And then, of course, all of the halftime stuff, made me feel great. And then what happened in Philly the next day, I was like, whoa, this is crazy now. Because now, boy, that does open up some things.
Does
you know what I mean? Open up some things to have some home games where the Cowboys did not play well in that game, and I still put that, guys, on that offense. Didn't show up. The defense did, again, a good job, Sherm, in holding them to 19 points, the same thing they did to Miami. You hold 19 points to me. That's good enough when you are running with the number one or number two or number three offense of the Dallas Cowboys, and that's what they've been the last few years. I just need them to get back to producing that. If the defense stays right where it is and keeping people to 19 points, those are pretty good, two pretty good teams in Miami and Detroit. So that Dallas defense, who got gashed in Buffalo, I thought fought back pretty well, but the offense is not doing their part, and that's what I'm worried about right now, Skip. So I did leave that game feeling like, okay, we won, but it didn't feel like we won the game, to be honest with you guys.
All right. Go, Richard.
Yeah, I don't know if they got robbed, Skip. I thought there were plays in that game Dallas made that the Lions didn't make early on. I thought the interception late that Jared Goff threw was a heck of a play by the defense, and that was a play where they had a little bit of momentum. They had a chance to make plays down the stretch. They did eventually get down the field and score a touchdown. But I do think this was a mistake on the referee's part, and I think the NFL went out of their way to make sure the world knew it was a mistake on the referee's part. They went out of their way to say, hey, these guys will not be reffing in the playoffs. You have it here first, which is something I don't remember if I've ever heard of the NFL ever doing before. And mind you, I've talked about this before. They have a system, a point system with these referees where if they have a certain amount of mistakes, they get marked down, their crew gets marked down, they get marked down as an individual, and it affects their ability to ref the playoff games in the Super Bowl, in the AFC, NFC championship games. So no question, this has always been the case, but they've never went out and totally exposed this system by saying, hey, these mistakes, including this decision and the tripping call, is the reason these guys, you will not see these guys in late January and early February. And so, I don't know. It just seems like it's a case of a guy, Brad Allen, the white cap, just going through the motions more than anything. Not actually listening, not actually paying attention to what's going on the field, but just going through the motions. He sees the guy coming in. He's been reporting eligible all day. He sees him doing this. And in reality, the Detroit Lions were trying to throw up smoke screens, which, there's no way to do in that situation because he's going to go to the defense and say, hey, 58, 68, they're reporting eligible. So no matter how much you hide it, no matter how much you sugarcoat it, disguise it, he's going to announce it to the defense if he said, Right, we call it the Bill Belichick, where you're messing with the rules just a little bit, trying to mess with people. But go ahead, sir. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
No, it just was them getting a little bit too cute because at the end of the day, you want them both to report eligible. And I think the play would still work because nobody's paying attention to two tackles. Everybody's like, okay, the tackle's there. We don't need to worry about him. Let's stop this run or let's penetrate. Let's do whatever we need to do to win this play. They're not expecting Decker to come out for a pass. The problem is, I believe after you report, you got to come out. And so then that would have been an issue later on in the game, but
Yep.
it wouldn't have mattered here.
Okay. So to me, in the end, the Cowboys couldn't lose for winning.
Skip, let me explain.
Go ahead.
Skip. Can you wait? Two people can't report, right? Two people can't report. Is that right?
Can report
I don't know if that's to be true. I don't know if that's to be true. I haven't got that confirmed.
I think they can.
Okay.
I think two can. And to Richard's point, if we run the video again, you see Panay Sewell is 58, and he's going straight to Brad Allen, along with Taylor Decker, who seems kind of second in line there, and then kind of looping behind them, but making a late run at Brad Allen as he's already going toward the defense, is Dan Skipper. So they were trying to camouflage, trying to disguise, trying to trick it up a little bit, where Dallas couldn't fixate or focus on one guy as reporting eligible, who would be Taylor Decker, who was going to be the primary receiver on the play, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so Richard, have you seen that? I don't know if you remember a game where multiple would try to look like they were reporting to fool you or fake you out.
Not since they changed the rule where the referee literally reports it, goes to the defense, reports it, yells it over the loudspeaker. I haven't seen somebody try to disguise because it doesn't make sense. He's literally going to snitch on you anyway. No matter how much you hide, you got to go over there and tell him, hey, I'm reporting eligible. And he's going to say, no matter how much you hide it, no matter how much you disguise it, he's going to say, 68 is reporting eligible, everybody. Hey, defense, 68 is a reported eligible. So,
okay, but that's not what he got, because Dan Skipper had reported eligible numerous times through the game already, which was Dan Campbell's way of trying to set up the fakery here. The camouflage was that, Taylor Decker, because the defense got told regularly, 70's eligible, 70's eligible, 70's eligible. And in this case, it was going to be 68 is eligible. And Dan Skipper tried to run in late just to fake them out. But Brad Allen just jumped to the conclusion, it's 70 again, reporting eligible, because he'd done that several times during the game. And you can see all of a sudden that Brad Allen is taking off like he's trying to beat the clock and get to the defense in time to say what he'd been telling them all game long, that Dan Skipper is reporting as eligible, when he did not actually say, I'm eligible. And according... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, what's insane about the play, Skip, is Skipper isn't even in an eligible position when they get up to the line of scrimmage.
He is not. Okay, so he became irrelevant.
Which is why they had two flags.
Okay, but I don't even, Michael, I don't get the second flag either, because his explanation was that he reported eligible, then lined up ineligibly.
And then he got covered up. He got covered up once he reported.
But he didn't report as eligible in the first place, according to him and Dan Campbell. So that's moot. That point is moot. And then Taylor Decker lines up to the left, but Richard, you've got a wide receiver outside of Taylor Decker, right? So
yes, sir.
He's the last man on the line, but he should have been eligible for the throw, if in fact
you got the receiver out there, and as Irv knows, you got to check with the ref, and we've gone through this already with the Kansas City situation and Kadarius Stoney. He definitely goes and says, "Hey, I'm off the ball." So at that point in time, the referee has to throw the flag immediately, because it's an ineligible. You're looking down the line and you say, hey, there's an ineligible not covered up by a receiver. If you don't throw that flag, then you're saying, hey, 68 is eligible and this receiver is also eligible, so this is a legal play. And since they didn't call that flag, that's where I was sitting there scratching my head, because you're looking down the line. That's like the first flag you throw. As soon as the ball snapped, that's like offsides, neutral zone. That's a dead ball. You throw the flag up and you call it and the play's dead. But in this situation, they didn't, because I don't think they thought this was an ineligible situation until the end. That's why they had to discuss it.
Exactly. Can you believe that we've gotten to 2024 and the head referee is still required to run to the defense to say, hey, 68 or 70 is eligible? They used to, as Richard said, announce it over the sound system. 68 is eligible for, but I don't think they do that. I don't hear it. Maybe they tune it out for the live audience. I don't know. I don't think they announce it anymore, but they just tell the defense.
I don't. Yeah,
Right?
they definitely tell the defense, but they still measure in first downs with sticks and chains. Skip, so this is the same game.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know when it's going to advance.
You got me. Bingo. Touche. All right. So previous to that, the NFL also has acknowledged that Brad Allen and company completely swung and missed on a tripping penalty that was called on the Cowboys' backup tight end, Peyton Hendershot. And at worst, it should have been called, or at best, on Aiden Hutchinson. I have no idea. If you look at the play again, I don't know if you can see it. It's hard to see that anybody did anything. It looks like Tony Pollard just took off running and he was fine. Nobody tripped him or tried to trip. I don't see anything. And it was a big penalty against Dallas that set them back and set in motion what was about to happen. So, even given that missed penalty, Mike McCarthy still had a chance to run a bunch of clock and still be in position for another, obviously, field goal from our field goal kicker who's not missed a field goal all year. And yet, on second down, he tries a deep pass to Brandon Cooks. I think we have it. I don't know what this was all about.
When they went back down the field with 40 seconds left and they're on like the 20-yard line, I almost destroyed whoever box I was in. Like, oh, my God, I can't believe we are here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, my God. Now, let's, and I want to back up a little bit, guys, because to that, you know, Dan Campbell made the decision to go for two. And okay, the ref, we can all sit here and extrapolate. Maybe that ref blew that call. He certainly looked like, from the standpoint, he blew that call. But Dan Campbell had another opportunity right there to say, I can kick this field goal right now and get this thing into overtime.
He could have done it.
Because my offense just drove down the field and drove through that Dallas defense like a hot knife on butter. If I get the ball back, this game is over. You know what I mean? So I can take what you guys are saying about, yeah, that was a bad call, but that was a bad tripping call. But the game had to keep going on. In that next play, you could have made a better throw, won that game, or Dan Campbell could have kicked that ball and gone into overtime.
Okay. Michael, you said the defense played very well, and it did until all of a sudden Mike McCarthy left 1:41 on the clock for Jared Goff and company, and they finally caught fire because they go 75 yards in 9 plays for a touchdown, and that did not look like the same defense that had been on the field for most of the game. Obviously, you got prevent defenses going on and all this, but again, the mentality, they lost their edge, and all of a sudden Detroit's in the end zone, and it was clear, Troy Aikman was saying on the telecast, it's just clear Dan Campbell's going to go for 2. If they get this ball in the end zone, he is going to go for 2, and he was hell-bent to go for 2 even after they got pushed back, and then Micah was offsides, and they just kept going on.
And that one right there. Mm-hmm. That one right there, Skip. That one right there. Now the drive, the score, all of that, okay. But the Micah offsides one, because even during the drive and how the defense had played, you got an interception on that play. Game over.
Yep.
The game was over on that interception if you don't have that offsides. And now that defense that had held Miami to 19 points turned around and held Detroit to 19 points, ended and won this game on an interception.
Yep.
That's riding in the playoff high for me. That's a pretty good ride.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So it was just that, and I give you, it was that Michael mistake on the lineup. It wasn't even a jump. You're lining up both sides. It makes you throw your hands up. Like, we're way too late in the season for this. We're way too late in the season for this kind of lack of focus coming down the line right here as you get ready to go into the playoffs.
Okay. So, by the way, that
if he understands leverage.
If he understands
leverage when he's running a route. Like if he's running that route and I can feel that guy coming inside out, then I can grab that ball and spin out and come out. If I feel him coming over the top, and that ball is close enough to me where I can grab it and spin back around on the inside and come back and get in that end zone. If he understands leverage, there's no way he could have got stopped right there. If that dude that's catching if that tight end, because it wasn't Laporta, if he understands leverage, there's no way he doesn't get in there.
Okay, and by the way, Michael, James Mitchell had caught one ball all year, and it had come earlier in the fourth quarter of that game on Saturday night. So you want to talk about a secret weapon who had no reps at all year, and all of a sudden you're featuring him in the fourth quarter, and you clearly had this 2-point play up your sleeve just in case the one to Taylor Decker didn't work or wouldn't fit or whatever. So, again, they had 2 chances to take it home, take a victory home, and they did not. So, Michael, back to you.
And they put that tight end, tight end there when Laporta was going off. Laporta had the best day, 7 grabs in the day. So that was a sneaker tight. Sneaker not, I'd have had Laporta in that position if I'm gonna throw that ball there.
Okay, well, that's another good point. So, Michael, sum it up. As you left the stadium on Saturday night, were you elated or deflated, not knowing what Philly was going to do, losing at home to Arizona? Were you elated or deflated by what you had witnessed?
But I had witnessed a couple things, Skip. I was deflated about how that game ended and everything, but I was honestly elated because of what had happened with Jimmy and then what I watched my 88 do, and CeeDee Lamb, which we'll talk about.
We're going to talk about it.
I left there, man. I was like, man, this is a strange feeling. Because remember now, I didn't know what was going on with Philadelphia. I was like, man, I just don't feel real good about the football part of it. I feel great about the other parts of it, but man, I just didn't feel like we won that game. It certainly didn't feel like what I talked about there prior to the game, where, dude, you see what's on this field? All of these dudes have rings out here. All of these guys, everybody you're looking at out here have rings. And that would have been a moment to say, man, like I told y'all, Michael Parsons said to me at the draft when he first saw me, I want to be like you. I'm going to be like you. That means he wanted to be broadcast and I want to be a champion. I thought it would have pulled that out of them a little bit more, especially on the offense. And that's not what I saw.
Okay. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.